Well, let me introduce you to Allie Miller, a Republican candidate for the Pima County Board of Supervisors in District 1. Allie, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Good afternoon, John. Thank you for having me.
Let's find out a little bit about you because you're new to the political arena, and I don't know much about you. The audience may not know as much about you as they should. A little bit about your background. Where'd you grow up, first of all?
Okay, I grew up in Vermont, and I moved out to Arizona in 1981, and I went to undergrad and graduate school here at the University of Arizona. I have a bachelor's in finance and an MBA from the U of A. And I worked in the aerospace industry. I used to work for Allied Signal, what is now Honeywell. Right. And then after that, I worked for Intel Corporation as a systems engineer.
All right. What gets you into politics? You're young and you've had this professional career. And, I mean, you take a look at politics today and you'd go, why would anybody get into this? But you've jumped into the fray.
Well, it is a good question. What got me involved was just becoming completely outraged with the misspending and the lack of accountability in Pima County. And specifically, the thing that first got me involved was Rio Nuevo. I actually formed a group to go after that, and I spent a year investigating that. I'm not sure if you knew about that, but I did spend a whole lot of time investigating, and I wrote a letter that exposed what was going on to the FBI, and they came in about a month later and seized those records. Unfortunately, since then, it's been turned over to Attorney General Horn to investigate. And
is
now,
the FBI out of this, to your knowledge?
I don't know.
Oh,
they
okay.
never contacted me back after
Really?
I contacted them.
Really?
I think once a criminal investigation begins that they do not contact the individual that files the complaint. It goes to a criminal investigation. There's no further communication.
Well, it's the biggest, the biggest boondoggle in our history. I've been
Absolutely.
here for almost a half century. Nothing rivals anything near the $200 million unaccounted for, the waste and arrogance of that original board, and the absolute foolishness of the way the money was spent as tax dollars.
And what really outraged me was just recently they fired Jody Bain, the chairwoman of that board, who was finally bringing to light and actually doing some forensic audits, because prior to that, they weren't audits, they were management reports that we spent $300,000 on. And they were finally coming forth with these forensic audits, and suddenly she's let go, a whole new group is brought in, and now we're buying the Manning House. And I wrote a letter to Senator Pierce today. I didn't happen to bring that in with me, but I did write it, and I posted it on Facebook because I am outraged that here we are buying yet another property from a private individual that cannot afford the property, and why should we pick winners and losers with the Rio Nuevo board money? Number one, they're out of money. Jeff Hill got up in that meeting that I attended on June 12th, I believe it was. He got up and said we're bringing in $9 million a year in revenue, and our debt service is $12 million. We are not meeting our debt service. So here we go and approve another $11 million in spending. I don't know how they could possibly justify that. But that was my question is, how can we, as taxpayers, afford to purchase the Manning House?
And for what purpose?
Exactly. And my understanding it is it's going to need a lot of cleanup because it has asbestos in it. That is what I've been told. I don't know that to be for a fact, but I have been told that it's going to take a significant amount of cleanup to get that building up and operational again. And the current private owner is losing money on it. What makes them think that if we buy it in the public sector that we're going to make money on it? This is the thing that is just so wrong about this, and something really stinks on this deal.
Well, it's like the city buying the Marist College, the old college. Every person I've talked with that has anything to do with refurbishing any buildings or remodeling of any ancient buildings like that says this is the worst they've ever seen. And it's a money pit. I mean, you throw $1 million at it, it's going to be $10 million, $15 million, and it's never, ever going to be worth it. It's just like the Fox Theater, which was a good idea. We put $13 million in, it's worth $3 million.
Right, and
tell me why that's good. I mean, it's worth $3 million right now. If you wanted to go buy the Fox, you could buy it for $3 million. We have $13 million in it,
and they still owe $6 million to the Rio Nuevo board,
which they're never going to pay.
Right,
never.
Right, absolutely. They said that.
Never. I don't want to get into this in any great detail, and I know you've read it, but the skinny, the Weekly has a big feature on you. You were really questioning the Pima County Board of Supervisors, of which you seek to be a member, on HERF money that you believe that we really didn't keep track of as well as we should have, and we're not real sure where it went. Now, your opponents, of which there are three others, apparently either didn't know very much about what you were talking about, but just briefly a little bit about what you were seeking to find when you were tracking this money. We're talking about HERF money. First of all, explain what HERF money is, and two, why you were so concerned, as this article points out, about where did it go?
The HERF money is the highway user revenue funds that we get back from the state. It's collected via your gas tax and via vehicle license tax, among a few other small items. And that money is distributed back to the county. About 50% of it is kept at the state level, but the rest is distributed back to the counties and the cities. And my concern is that we've had, over the years, a lot of HERF money distributed back to Pima County, but if you look at the condition of our roads, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out those monies have not been going into the roads. For instance, in 2011, I believe the report I was just looking at, $33 million was sent back to Pima County alone, and about it's either 43 or 48 million went back to the city of Tucson. Now, what is going on with that HERF money? They aren't fixing our roads. Now, right now, they just had an emergency meeting where they approved $10 million to go out and put shovelfuls of tar into the potholes. So now in my area out in northwest Tucson, it's unincorporated Pima County, not only are we dealing with the big potholes, but now we have big chunks of tar that we're having to get out of our cars and throw it off the road so that we don't hit those chunks of tar. I've got photographs of it. I'll be sending out a press release. It is unbelievable. This $10 million is wasted because it is not being done properly. So that's what got me interested in this HERF money. And the other thing was this $10 million. If you look at the 2012-2013 budget, they agreed to put another $10 million in next year out of the general fund. Well, right next to it, there's an entry where they're taking $27 million out of the Department of Transportation. And I wish I had that document with me here today. And this is what I showed Mr. Ninsel, and apparently he didn't go in and investigate that, but he does a hit piece on me here in the Tucson Weekly without any response from me. He asked me for a response, and he did not get a response. And I think his reporting is dishonest, and I don't appreciate it. And it'll be the last time that I will do an interview with Mr. Ninsel.
All right, let's go to your campaign here. You're facing Vic Williams, legislator,
right.
Mike Helen, longtime Republican, and so it's a four-way race. Obviously, your first time out in politics, so really, it's really getting people to know you. I mean, Mike Helen does have some name ID, no question, among the
That's
Republican
right.
Party, former chair, obviously of the state Republican Party. Vic Williams, a legislator. So again, I would assume getting to know people, getting to know you, almost a silly song, but that's really what it's all about, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, and that's what I've been doing. I've been getting out and meeting people in the community. I've been asking them about their concerns. I met these people in the communities who first complained about these potholes in the roads. I've been talking to my neighbors and friends. I've been going to meetings and going to coffees, just meeting with a lot of people and asking them about their concerns with Pima County. They had no idea, first of all, that our tax rate is 3.5 times that of Maricopa County. And you talked about some of the reasons that it's a little higher, but 3.5 times. And then when they find out that we have a $1.3 billion budget, they're shocked. They had no idea that much money was going into Pima County. And then in addition to that, you tell them, well, the city of Tucson also has $1.2 billion. And look at the condition of the city and Pima County. There's something very wrong. And then if you look at this amount of HERF money that came back in just 1 year and the condition of the roads. And there was a 2008 article. I don't have that with me, but Mr. Huckleberry said that Pima County maintains the roads on average every 25 years. And when you let the roads go that long, they get to the point where it is beyond repairs. You have to completely redo the road. So it becomes a non-ending repair project, throwing muck in the potholes, and the roads are never properly fixed. And the condition of the roads right now is just absolutely atrocious. I think it's a safety hazard. I think we're going to have a potential accident with someone either on a motorcycle or a bicycle.
Well, the city just paid a $60,000 lawsuit for an accident from a motorcycle rider. $60,000 of our tax dollars because he hit a chuckle.
Okay, well,
they just paid it. The city council
paid
just
it.
did, yeah, $60,000.
well, I'm glad you brought that out. I did not know that.
It would have been much cheaper, I would think, to put $60 worth of asphalt in the hole rather than pay the poor motorcycle rider who was injured, by the way, the $60,000 settlement. There's going to be a lot more of those, by the way.
I agree. And people coming in to get their cars aligned and getting that paid for, they know they can go to the risk management office and apply to get those paid. I'm one of those people. My car gets knocked out of alignment every time I drive down Thornydale Road. I mean, and you see buses full of children that are swerving on these potholes and people having near head-on collisions. And it's time that we, do something about this.
I forgot to mention Stuart McDaniel. He's the other person running in the
race.
Yes,
he is.
People call you the Tea Party candidate. Why is that?
I started a Tea Party to investigate Rio Nuevo. I prefer to be referred to as a businesswoman because that's what my background is. I have more than 30 years of business experience, and I think that's Jim Ninsel's way of marginalizing me. When you use the word Tea Party, it makes you sound like an evil, horrible person. But the way the Tea Party started out was people became active and they wanted to do something. What it stands for is taxed enough already. And I think everyone can agree that we're taxed enough already. And we need to find where the wasteful spending is, and we need to go after that. I don't believe in across-the-board cuts. I believe in looking at each department, and I believe in zero-based budgeting. Every year they justify their expenditures, and we find out where can we do things better, how can we do things better. Just like your previous guest was talking about, let's figure out ways to do things faster, let's do them better, and let's cooperate with our neighbors. And the other municipalities in the neighborhood. We could benchmark Marana on jobs, on bringing businesses into the county. We don't need to go on junkets to San Diego and travel all over the country. They're doing a fine job up there, bringing business in.
Let's talk about your campaign plan. A lot of people say, well, you're going to need $100,000 for the Board of Supervisors or $200,000 or whatever. It's unlikely that those kind of numbers, they may come up and they may be available. But really, it's a grassroots effort, is it not? And running in your area, a lot of people aren't even in town yet. I mean, they've gone. I mean, in the northwest corridor of the retirement communities, people don't come back until it gets a bit cooler. So even if you walk 15 homes, 10 are not home. The other 3 are maybe friendly, and the other 2 don't even know what you're talking about. So it's hard to walk that area. Have you found that to be true?
It is very difficult. The way you get to know people is you just get out there and you meet as many people as you can. You walk, you go to meetings, you attend events. You try to go to places where the average person, it's not political events where you find all the usual suspects. You try to meet people, your neighbors, your friends, and then they introduce you to their neighbors and friends. That's the best way. And also coming on the radio, speaking out about what your ideas are, and making sure that you're out in the community talking to people and letting them know about you. And I've done an awful lot of that. And I like to let people know that I'm going to represent the taxpayers. I have been endorsed by the Southern Arizona Conservative PAC. I'm very proud of that because there are no strings attached. It is a grassroots group that is trying to help candidates who are struggling and candidates who need money to get elected.
I think Republicans think this is a district that will always be Republican. I'll tell you, you probably shouldn't underestimate Nancy Young Wright. I've known her for a long time. She's a very hard campaigner, a very nice person, too, by the way, and obviously will offer a contrast to your approach or a Republican's approach to solving Pima County problem. But anybody thinks that she might be just a rollover candidate is making a serious mistake. You need a strong Republican candidate to hold this as a Republican seat, is my point.
I agree with you 100%. I don't underestimate anyone in this race. And in the primary, I think it is, there's 4 of us in there. I don't think anyone can say, this is my main opponent. I don't believe that right now. At least I don't have that information to be able to make that judgment. The only thing I can say is I'm working hard. I've got a lot of support. I've got a lot of people that are helping me work hard, and that's the best we can do. And what we're doing is we're offering up the people of Pima County a choice. I don't underestimate Nancy Young Wright, but I certainly am not going to even think about that until after this primary is over. And but she is a person, I believe, a formidable opponent. And whoever the Republican is that emerges from this primary, the winner will have a strong challenge on their hands, and I agree with you.
Let me mention a couple of events that are coming up, if you don't mind. I believe
Sure.
Thursday, July 26th, the Northwest Conservative Board of Supervisors debate Oro Valley Public Library. I think all four of you will be there. Is that, do I understand that correctly?
That is correct. It's,
July 26th, right?
July 26th.
7 o'clock.
It's at 6 o'clock.
Well, it says Mountain Time. Who would put Mountain Time on that? We're on Pacific Time.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know why that is. By the way, and that would be 7 o'clock Mountain Time, except we're on Pacific Time, so that would, because we don't change. By the way, 11,000 North Lackawanna Drive, Oro Valley. That's where that is.
It's at the Oro Valley Library,
yeah,
correct.
So I wanted to mention that. A Republican Big Ten event, come mingle with the candidates. That's August 4th. There's another Mountain Time, so at 10:30 in the morning, Saturday, August 4th, right? I believe at 5151 South Country Club Road.
That's correct.
All right. Please let us know when you're appearing places. We always mention that, and we have tried to interview all of the candidates and as often as we possibly can. I hope you'll come back.
I'd love to.
With another interview. And please let us know what you're doing and where you are and what you're talking about. But how do people help you if they want to join your effort?
If people want to help me, they can go to my website. It's AllyForSupervisor.com. That's ALLYFOR, supervisor.com. And there is a link on there where they can click to sign up to help me or sign up for my emails. Please get on my email list because I send out a lot of information. And this is information, very detailed research that I've done. And I like to let people know what is happening in the community and events that are going on. And I will be, sending out things like the letter that I sent to Senator Pierce today, requesting that he stop this purchase of the Manning House from going forward.
Ally Miller, thanks. I hope you'll come back. Thank you for being on the show today. It's always a pleasure to see you. And I met you last fall. You started this campaign almost a year ago.
I filed my papers on September 1st last year. So it'll be a full year by the time this is over. And it's a pleasure to meet you. And it's nice to see you again.
Thank you very much, Ally Miller, the Republican candidate for the Board of Supervisors in District 1.